tasted, listened, smelled, touched,
yep.
felt.
We got
Before. Hi, I'm Allan, and this is Popculture Pontification, the show in which we talk about things that might be pop culture related, or it might just be stuff that happens to us because we've both been very busy and it's Easter, so shut up.
Yeah, pretty much.
That charming voice you hear is once again Tim.
And I'm back.
Who is back, not by popular demand, but more by the fact that you're available and I can't be asked finding someone else to come on.
Yeah, I haven't left since the last one. I haven't moved from this chair.
That's true, yes. Yeah. You've sort of become one with the chair at this point.
Yeah, we're attached.
It's like that. Did you hear that story about that woman who went through like a manic episode? Have you heard about this?
Is this the elevator thing that I told you about
no.
3 weeks ago? No.
You're obsessed with that, and that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
This woman was in her boyfriend's house, and she had like a manic episode, or she just went off. She just went crazy one day, and she just went and sat on his toilet and refused to move.
That's really weird.
So she just sat there, and he was like, "Just get off the toilet." And she's like, "I can't."
Oh.
And she sat there for 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, apparently.
That's no.
This is like a police report.
No,
sort of
I don't believe it. 2 years, like.
I believe I could. 1 year or 2 years. I can't remember which one. But it was a long time.
Like
so
more
much
than
so,
25 minutes is unreal.
It's like, oh, my legs are dead, and I got that weird ring on my ass.
Yeah, she would like steal herself to the city. This
is it. Yeah, he would like bring her food, and every day ask her to get off the toilet, and she was like, I can't get off the toilet. And
Why?
I don't know the details. I think they were having relationship problems, and she was like, if I'm on the toilet, he can't break up with me or anything like that.
Huh.
But when eventually, whatever, like people got called because she'd been missing for a year or so. Yeah. She had become one with the toilet seat.
Huh.
Like she had fused to it because she'd been sitting on it for so long without pants on, I assume.
Yeah, I guess.
And so they had to like take the toilet seat off and take it with her when they took her off the toilet seat.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'll look it up after the podcast. I think you're full of shit.
I believe it's true, unless it was like a very convincing, very popular, like The Onion article or something like that. Maybe. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah,
it sounds unbelievable.
It's questionable.
But I heard of it from so different sources.
Yeah.
So many different sources that I'm just like, well, that's real.
Yeah, I suppose. It's like you give me shit for the elevator story. Oh, I'm obsessed with that, and then you come up with this ridiculous sitting on a toilet story.
Doesn't
doesn't make sense. This is like the gobbledygooker all over again.
Or the gobbledygooker, yeah. Well, I didn't believe you there, and he existed, didn't he?
And he does. Yeah, he does exist. Well, all right, fair enough. Well, we're even then.
All right, fair enough. So how are you doing, Tim?
Oh, I'm doing all right.
You're working. You're poor at the moment because you started a new job just at the end of the month-long pay cycle.
No, it's a 2-week pay cycle, but they sent me the contract like a day before pay was due, and they're like, just send it back with a big highlighted section saying you won't be paid until you submit the contract to us, and we're over east. And here's a not express post envelope to send it.
It's like this will be given to some surfy going over to the Gold Coast.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top of that, it's Easter, so it's not like I can call them and be like, give me my money. So
there's nobody there.
Exactly. Yeah. So and when I figured out that I hadn't been paid, it was 3:00 per time, and they were closed on a Thursday. So happy Good Friday.
Look at that sweet pay packet you're gonna get in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, if I survive long enough. 2 weeks.
You're a dual income household.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Yeah, alright.
You and your fiancé.
My fiancé.
You can always just become poor again and get people to buy you food.
Yeah, that's true. That's never happened before, right, Allan?
No, it's never happened.
Yeah.
What you were a fan of doing, though, was inviting people over to your house, at which point everybody would bring snacks and stuff, and then you'd be like, alright, we're done, good night.
Yeah,
and then all the food would be left there.
Yeah, see, that's D&D. Why do you think I miss it so much? That's my payday.
Yes, we have had to stop playing D&D because Russell's on holiday.
Russell's just the source of all problems, I think.
Yeah, is that really the solution to many of them?
No, not really. Which is unusual for a white person.
It's true, yeah. Well, we've made a lot of problems in the world, white people.
Yeah, it's true. That's okay, I forgive you. On behalf of myself, I forgive you.
You can't speak for
absolutely not. No,
because
and someone will end up listening to this, and they'll be the advocate for brown people, and be like, "Well, he doesn't apologize for us."
Well, Australia doesn't need to apologize anymore because you've forgiven us.
We did.
You did just then.
Oh
You
yeah.
forgave-
Oh right. Yeah.
You
yeah.
forgave white people for
Yeah.
all their misgivings.
I did. So I can't be bitter anymore.
You can't,
I will
yeah.
be, but I
You
can't.
probably will be. But you won't be able to get away with being bitter.
That's
anymore.
right. Yeah. Because it's on the internet now.
That's it.
Or it will be.
Well, I've got an audio record of this.
We'll just cut it out.
Well, yeah, we'll trim it.
We'll trim that out. Alright.
So, with your lack of money
Yeah.
and, lack of paperwork being completed,
Yeah.
have you had any time to do anything pop culture this week?
I sure have.
Yeah?
Not only
Because
did
you
I
can't
watch-
afford to go out.
That's exactly right. I was going to go see a bunch of movies. I was going to go see, for this podcast, 10 Cloverfield Lane. So it
You
looks-
see, I never watched Cloverfield.
Oh, Cloverfield is such a good movie.
So,
It's so good.
Our-
I almost threw up when I watched
our
it.
good friend Nick actually can't watch those sort of movies.
Oh, with the motion thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it the one
Shout
in
to
South Africa with the shrimps, the prawns?
Oh, District 9.
District 9. We went and watched that, and he's like, I have to leave. Like halfway
That's
through.
not even that bad.
It had a lot of shaky cam.
That's true. Cloverfield has a lot of shaky cam. Like, the entire
Blair Witch.
movie.
Blair Witch is another one with a lot of shaky
Oh,
cam.
yeah. I love Blair Witch Project. I think I just like that style of movie.
Maybe.
Found footage stuff like Paranormal
But I
Activity.
never watched Cloverfield.
Yeah, you should.
Because it was like... It tried too hard to be Jaws, I think. Where it was like...
Oh, what is it?
Is there a monster? Can't show it to you. The last 10 minutes. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. They still never really give you a clear shot. Like, you have to freeze frame to find a shot of the monster.
I think,
And then-
the art depictions of it
Yeah.
have been released.
Yeah,
So people
yeah,
know what the monster looks like, quotation marks.
But they never really gave a really clear shot of it. But I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
The suspense
and
is really
this
good.
is like not a direct sequel.
No, it's like
It's like
same
adjacent.
universe or something like that.
Yeah, it's linked in some manner.
Yeah. But it's
But it's got
done by
one of
J.J.
my
Abrams.
favorite female actors in it. The chick from Scott Pilgrim versus the Universe.
Oh yeah, Ramona Flowers.
Ramona Flowers.
Not Roman.
Not Roman.
Roman
She
Reigns.
might be Roman.
Maybe he knows. I don't know her name. I didn't know she was in
actually.
anything.
But
except
she
for
is.
Scott
She's
Pilgrim.
very pretty.
She's very pretty.
And she is in this. And I was like,
All the
well,
more
maybe
reason
I'll
to
go
watch
watch it. Also because it's got John Goodman, who is legitimately one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he doesn't seem in place at all in this movie.
He does seem like very jolly.
Yeah, he's a jolly fat man, and he doesn't play like menacing. Stay out of the ground.
Yeah.
Stay off the ground.
Stay off the ground.
Yeah, stay off the ground. Stay on
The
the
ground is lava.
The ground is lava. Yeah.
But you've never seen him in Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
No.
You've never seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
No. I've seen the Simpsons episode with the same title.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Everything cycles back to The Simpsons
Yeah.
with you.
My
No,
whole
Oh Brother
childhood.
Where Art Thou is a retelling of Odysseus.
Oh, I've read.
Have you read Odysseus?
Yeah, by
the
Homer.
Iliad?
Yeah, but I call it the Odyssey.
Yes.
But you can pronounce it incorrectly if you want.
I'm sure I will.
What did you call it? Odysseus.
Odysseus. The Odyssey.
The Odyssey.
I think Odysseus is a character.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
where
that's
I'm
right.
getting
Yeah,
confused.
yeah.
Because I've got a book. It's like right there. I've got the Iliad
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
the Odyssey.
Yeah, by Homer.
Yes.
Once
It's,
again,
it's like
Simpsons.
it's a homage to that. It's a retelling of that with like the sirens and all that sort of stuff and flooding and so on and so forth. It's thoroughly referenced throughout the entire movie. It's a very good movie.
Interesting.
And John Goodman is in that, and he's like this smooth talking sort of confidence man. You know, who the three main characters.
Yeah.
Obviously being the main characters in homage to the main characters in the
Odyssey.
Iliad, Odyssey,
Yeah.
whatever, the two separate books.
Yeah.
You know, and he like does that. He's like confidence sort of talks. Let's go sit in a field and have lunch and talk and all do all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he just fucking betrays them and
Nice.
like just beats the shit out of them and steals their money. And he turns out to be a member of the Ku Klux Klan and all this sort of stuff.
Jesus.
And he plays it so well.
Nice.
Because he's like, surely such a fine gentleman as yourself would not be interested in a mere proposal such as I, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Then like he takes them out and he's like talking to them, blah blah blah. And then he like picks up a tree stump because they're sitting out behind, a branch from the tree, and he's like, out in the field and sort of stuff. And then he just fucking smacks some guy in the face with it.
Jesus.
And the guy just boom, goes down. He like,
Fucking hell.
it's a really good movie.
That
If
sounds like
you-
a really good movie.
If you know the story of the Iliad / the Odyssey,
Yeah.
you should watch that movie because there'll be you love references.
I do
and
love
it is
references.
rife with them.
Interesting.
Yes.
I'll give it a shot then. Because I did enjoy The Odyssey. It's one of the few books I've read to its completion. One of
And it's not exactly a light fucking read either.
No, we had to read it in year 7. So...
So it's not something you're like, I'll read the Odyssey.
No, God, no. When have I ever been like, I'll read this? Like, I read menus at restaurants. Barely.
Well, you read manga, which is very light reading.
Yeah, it's like fucking for 2-year-olds. So, it's not that bad. But no, it's like one of 3 books that I've read.
Okay. And you enjoyed it, which is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
What were we talking about? Cloverfield. 10 Cloverfield.
Cloverfield, yeah. So I was going to go see that for this week's podcast. Maybe I'll go see it for next week's podcast, but I won't be paid by then. But maybe I convince my lovely fiance to pay for it for me.
Maybe.
Or
Cara, who is probably listening to this, Cara, for the good of the podcast, you must take Tim on a date to the movies.
She won't take me on a date. She hates me.
True love.
Well, it was that, or we were going to go see Batman vs Superman,
which only got released yesterday.
Correct. So
as of this recording.
Yeah, so I was going to see it yesterday morning because I'd work it in the night.
Oh, we could have gone and watched it together because that's when me and my lovely girlfriend Layla went and watched it.
Should have gone for a double date.
First session.
Well, you went and saw it, so why don't you tell us about it?
I will tell you about it.
Yeah.
And my thorough disappointment with the entire movie.
I'm so excited for this. This is like where you say spoiler alert, right?
Yes. I'll attempt to avoid spoilers.
I just go full ham. You've said spoiler alert, and I like spoilers. So.
No, but I'll ruin the movie for you.
You think I haven't already looked up what happens?
Of course you have. It isn't great.
Oh.
It is about 3 hours long.
Oh my god,
I don't know the exact time frame. It felt long. It's like it could have been an hour and a half. It felt like 3 hours.
Jesus, it was like a 25-minute film.
It's a 25. Yeah, it's a short film.
It's just it's a short film.
Proof of concept.
Yeah, it didn't work.
It didn't work. The concept was denied.
Yeah, myth busted.
And they have about 5 different plot lines going on at the same time. And they're attempting to introduce all these characters.
Yeah.
But everybody knows these characters. Everybody is aware of who they are.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell us who Batman is.
Uh-huh.
Everyone knows who Batman is.
People going to see a Batman vs Superman film probably have some idea of who he is.
And at the same time, they're like... they never really go into the history of Superman. But there's still a lot of nonsense going on around him. In which, like... It's just like... Lois Lane, who is a strong, independent woman... is like in this war-torn country and like she's interviewing a warlord and it's like, what makes you think you're a good person instead of evil, blah blah blah. Oh, that was interesting. You know, and then like shit goes down, like half of his mercenaries betray the other half of the mercenaries, which is so loosely tied in and so convolutedly tied into framing Superman for being a bad guy.
God.
And then like Superman shows up and saves her, and she's like, "Oh my God, Superman saved her!" And then it's like later on, it's like, "Oh, I just can't believe that you can be who you are and be with me at the same time because you're Superman and I'm Lois Lane and I'm a human and you're an alien." It's like, just whatever. Who gives a fuck?
Fucking cares?
And all the characters are not portrayed well.
Not a single one.
Not a single one.
Oh dear.
In which. Well, it's not a spoiler that Wonder Woman's in it.
No.
Because that was in the trailer.
Yeah.
And she's in it for total, maybe 15 minutes.
Oh, that's going to upset a lot of people.
And as actual Wonder Woman, about 10 minutes.
Oh, jeez. Because everyone was so pissed. Lois Lane and Wonder Woman aren't the same person,
No.
I don't know nothing about DC. So, Wonder Woman's from the same planet as...
She is from Earth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was from... I'm probably pronouncing this wrong. DC is my strong suit. She's from an island called Themyscira.
Okay.
Which she is the Amazonian queen, and she.
I just thought she was some bitch with a shield.
No, she
like
is
Captain America.
she's like as strong as Superman.
Hot damn.
You know.
Well, there you go.
Especially in the comics.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know about modern comics where Superman can tow the planet. You know, like he's literally done that. You know.
I'm already. Oh fuck no.
6.6 septillion tons, I believe, the Earth weighs. Only because I read that comic and it references how much it is. And he's just like pulls it through space.
Okay, yeah, sure, why not?
So I don't know if they're still on the same sort of power levels there.
Christ.
But especially in like the animated universe and the older comics, her and Superman are strength-wise on par.
Damn.
And she's got these braces that are made of like an indestructible metal.
Okay.
She's got a tiara that she can throw and it can cut through anything. She's got a lasso that if she lassos someone with it, they have to tell the truth.
Okay.
You know, and it's also
I wonder what it's called.
indestructible.
Lasso of
It's
Truth.
Lasso of Truth.
Fuck. Oh.
This is what happens when you create a superhero in the 1940s.
Yeah, I guess. Well, you'd think that the creativity pool would be pretty big at that point. You could pull more than just the lasso of
Well,
truth
everything
out of
was original at that point.
it. Yeah, I guess.
Anyway, so she's in it for a grand total of about 10-15 minutes.
Ugh.
Possibly 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, this movie seemed like it went on for longer.
Yeah.
And anyway, so put her aside. We'll focus on Batman.
Okay, we'll start with Ben Affleck, who ruined Daredevil, so I can't wait to see how he ruins.
I feel like
Batman.
he wasn't given much choice, because this is a very dark movie.
Yeah, I read
Like,
that.
it's super gritty
Like, it's
and super
miserable
dark.
the whole time.
It's just everybody's unhappy.
Yeah, except for Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes, who's becomes very unhappy later
Oh,
on.
okay.
And so Batman just wants to kill people, basically.
Okay.
Well, the thing that you might not know about Batman is that he doesn't use guns.
Yeah.
Because his parents were killed by gun.
Oh, my God. He's afraid of bats.
He's not afraid of bats.
Oh.
He uses bats as a method of fear. Because he was scared of bats. I don't know if he still is. He might be. He lives in Batcave, so you think that'd be a very bad place to
Yeah.
live. Yeah. And he doesn't kill people. Doesn't use guns, doesn't kill people.
Okay.
That's his thing. Superman kill people.
Whatever.
He has no moral stance on it.
Okay. But Batman's very anti-killing people.
Batman's very anti-killing people and he's
his
very
main
anti-guns.
thing. Okay.
You know, so he just breaks bones and disables people.
Okay.
And doesn't use guns.
Okay.
It's a big deal. In this movie, he uses guns. Like, he uses a
my
thing,
God.
like, every now and then, he'll, just have a gun.
It doesn't make sense, though.
Like, at one point, he gets a hold of kryptonite, so he
Yep.
creates a bullet, grenade that explodes and cloud of kryptonite to
Yep.
sort of fight, so he can fight Batman.
Superman.
Superman, sorry. So instead of just, putting it in, a spud gun or, some cool bat device, like
Yeah.
a bat grenade launcher or something,
Yeah.
he just gets, an M16 or whatever with a grenade attached on the bottom and just puts it in there, just boom, and shoots him with it.
Fucking hell.
But he never fires the gun.
Uh,
So he's just holding the gun.
Yeah.
And every now and then he'll pull out a gun, but it'll just shoot a tracer bullet or something.
yeah.
You know, but it's still a gun.
Yeah, it's still a gun, technically.
And then there's
Oh, dear.
all these sort of weird cuts. Like every now and then you'll just be watching the movie and then something really weird will happen. Like all of a sudden it's the apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
And Batman's now he's using guns, now he's shooting people all over the place.
Fucking-
But he's got a big trench coat on, you know?
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
he's and then Superman comes along and Superman's evil and captures him and all this sort of stuff. And then he wakes up and it was a dream. And I was
Okay.
like, why?
Doesn't make any sense.
And then later on he falls asleep at his bat computer or whatever.
yeah.
and
His
then-
back computer.
Whatever. He's at his computer in his back cave.
Okay, yeah, the back computer.
And then he'll just have this horrible vision and he'll be like, oh, and he'll wake up. But then he'll look over to his left and there's this sort of weird dude coming out of a time portal saying, you gotta take out Superman or find kryptonite.
What is this
And I'm
movie?
like, what? Who the fuck is that? But then, the guy goes back into the portal and Batman's like, oh my god. But then he wakes up again.
What? I'm so confused.
As I was throughout
Yeah.
most of this movie. And so weird.
Yeah.
And he just plays the parallel is that Bruce Wayne is this fun-loving drunk guy.
Yeah.
He also doesn't drink because it dulls his senses and he's Batman basically, you know. And he drinks throughout this entire movie.
Okay.
But Bruce Wayne is the guy, you know, I'll fuck a supermodel and I'll buy this restaurant.
Like the Iron Man, the Tony Stark. of
He's
DC.
basically it. Yeah. But it's only to make people go oh, Bruce Wayne is Batman? God, that'd never happen.
Right.
That lush, that drunken fool.
Right.
You know.
Gotcha.
But even as Bruce Wayne, he's gotta stop this Lex Luthor as Superman. It's you're Bruce Wayne right now. Why are you so serious?
Yeah.
You know. So, I think that he did the best with what he was given, but what he was given was pretty shitty.
Yeah. He was dealt a shit hand.
Yeah. And Superman is pretty much Superman.
Yeah,
you know,
just
there's not really much
trash.
There's not much depth to his character.
Yeah.
But then every now and then, at one point, he's run away because shit's going bad.
Oh, he's a big crybaby.
Yeah, he's a big crybaby.
Yeah.
And then he's just in the North Pole, for some reason.
Oh, okay.
And his dead father is there, stacking rocks in a pile. And then he gives him some life advice. And then, it pans back to Superman, and pans back, and he's gone, and there's nobody there.
Okay.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Fucking hell. What on earth?
And my biggest problem, I have two big problems with this.
Yeah.
One is that people go back and forth between Gotham and Metropolis.
Yeah.
Batman and Superman's respective homes. Like they're just across the river.
Yeah.
But like you can see Gotham from Metropolis apparently.
Oh, okay.
They're not that close to each other.
No, I was gonna say, I don't think they're that close.
It's not like North and South Perth. You
Yeah.
know? They're not just a river divides them. They're pretty close, but anyway. And my other big problem was that they fucked up Lex Luthor so badly.
Yeah.
He was like a psychopathic, child, deranged idiot.
Like they were trying to copy the Joker?
Basically, yeah. You know, it was just very out of character because Lex Luthor in the comic books and every other media, unless it's like the later on stuff where he's become deranged for whatever reason, like kryptonite poisoning or whatever. Which has happened in the past.
Okay.
He's carried around kryptonite so often that he gets like cancer from it, and then he starts taking kryptonite injections. That's a whole other thing we're not going to get into.
We're not going to get into that now.
But the whole thing about Lex Luthor is that he is a billionaire genius, right?
Yeah.
He's very debonair.
Yep.
Everybody loves him because he owns pretty much all of the media outlets.
Jesus.
So everything portrays him in a positive light.
Yeah.
And he hates Superman.
Okay.
Not just because he's Superman or whatever. He hates Superman because he thinks that Superman is doing more harm than good.
Okay.
Right? He's like, Superman is just coddling us.
Yeah.
Like, as a human race, we're not progressing, we're not growing, we're not learning, we're not evolving.
That makes
because
sense.
Superman is solving all of our problems for us.
That makes sense.
Superman just needs to fuck up once, and the Earth is destroyed.
Yeah.
Superman needs to bat 1,000. If he fucks up once, that's it, we're done.
Yeah.
And 99% of the problems that Superman solves, he is the only reason why those problems are happening.
Okay.
Like, supervillain comes to Earth to try and fuck up Superman. That nearly gets us killed.
Yeah.
He wouldn't come here if Superman wasn't here.
That makes sense.
You know?
So Lex Luthor is actually the good guy of the DC world.
He's like this very charismatic, multi-dimensional character.
Okay.
Where it's like, is he doing this because he legitimately believes it to be the right thing?
Yeah.
You know, at one point he uses his intelligence and media outlets and all that sort of stuff to become president.
Okay.
At which point he makes Superman, a criminal. He's like, he outlaws Superman.
Nice.
And it's like, get the fuck out. Leave America.
So, what's he like in the movies then?
In the movie, he is just like killing people and goes crazy.
Okay.
And like creates a monster that is going to destroy the planet / the world just to try and kill Superman.
What's his name? It's not Abomination. That's DC, Marvel.
I forget his name.
Armageddon? Apocalypse?
No. That's Marvel.
It's still Marvel. Yeah. I know this as well.
Doomsday.
Doomsday. That's
Sorry,
it.
I'm terrible with names. I apologize.
I was going to say Dementor. That's Harry Potter, so I'm not even close. Just getting further and further away.
Yeah. He creates Doomsday just to like try and beat Superman. He's like, "You're gonna die, Superman!" And he like pits Batman and Superman against each other to try and kill one of them, if not both of them.
Yeah.
But he does it in such a convoluted fashion.
Yeah.
And it's garbage.
The whole movie.
The whole movie. Like, the fight scene between Batman and Superman was okay.
Yeah.
But at any point, Batman should have just been dead.
Yeah, well, I've always thought that as well. Like, Superman is stupidly overpowered, which is why I don't like him.
And there are a lot of, like, comic book references where, like, Batman beats Superman, and he's very clever and he has weeks of planning and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he, like, creates all these gadgets and sets up all these convoluted scenarios that will allow him to win.
Yeah.
Against gods, against, like, Apocalypse, which is someone who can beat the shit out of Superman, and all this sort of stuff. Gods, basically, he can go up against and beat and all that stuff because he's intelligent. But in the movie, he does none of that.
Huh.
Like, he sets up traps for Superman and all that sort of stuff. But you never see him, like, creating things to fuck Superman up. All of that stuff is done by Alfred, his butler. Like, Alfred, like, he'll come back to the Batcave and Batman will just be like, ugh, Superman.
Angst.
What a dick. And then he'll, like, go work out. Well, meanwhile, like, Alfred is back on the bench, like, soldering stuff and all that sort of stuff. So, anyway.
Yeah, how disappointing. It got 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's not doing great.
It was, I went in expecting not much and left disappointed.
So, I've heard tale that numerous DC characters show up.
Correct.
Who are in the trailer. Are we allowed to talk about
that? Well, I guess we can, because I pretty much spoiled the most
entire
of the
movie. Yeah.
Alright, if we're going to go whole hog, we're going to go whole hog.
Yeah.
The end of the movie is ridiculous.
Okay.
And if you really don't want to hear the end of the movie,
yeah,
this is like I'm going to leave like a 2-second gap here so you can like fumble in your pocket and turn this off.
Yeah.
Or skip ahead for like the 2 minutes that we're going to talk about this. Okay, if you're still listening, you don't give a shit about the ending or you've already seen it.
Yeah, I've left the room.
The end of the movie, a whole subplot of the movie is Batman getting a hold of this block of kryptonite and creating all these weapons out of it, of which he creates like 2.
Okay,
he creates these powdered grenades, which he shoots at Superman and hits Superman for some reason, which turns him... And he's like, oh, it's a cloud of kryptonite, and he breathes it in and it fucks him up.
Yeah.
And then he creates this spear with like a big kryptonite head on it, like a spearhead. Which is like a big collapsible extendable spear. Okay. For some reason. Okay. Sure. Why he didn't just create a knife and stab him in the chest with a knife, I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a really awkward weapon to carry around.
Yes. Anyway, and so the end fight scene between which Batman does fucking nothing in, by the way. It's like he's just like desperately trying to survive while Wonder Woman and Superman go head to head with these things. Anyway, so he creates a spear and Lois Lane. Like, at one point, Batman has his foot on Superman's neck, hold him down with the spear above him, like, about to stab him through the heart. Yeah. And Lois Lane comes up, like, don't kill him, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, anyway, that's not important. Yeah. They go off and try and fix the problem that is Doomsday. So Lois Lane grabs a spear, runs into, like, this, they're in a big church sort of thing. Okay. And then, like, finds this big sort of... stairwell that used to go, big spiral stairwell that used to go down, and then it was full of water for some reason because it's an abandoned church. Okay, got full of water. Threw the spear in it, left. Okay, fair enough. It's a thing that can hurt your husband, boyfriend, whatever.
Yeah, you want to get rid of it.
You want to get rid of it, and then like 10 seconds later, she like runs out and goes, "Ah, oh, fuck," you know, because the bad Doomsday is created via General Zod, the dead bad guy from the Superman movie. Yeah. Who's also a kryptonite. And Lex Luthor's DNA. Okay. So she's like, oh, fuck, they need the spear to kill this guy because it's kryptonite. He'll die if he's hurt with kryptonite. Yeah. So then she runs back and she's like, oh, fuck, I threw it in a well. So then she, like, dives in to get it. Of course she does. She's about to dive in to get it, but then, like, rubble falls. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, rubble's falling. I'll jump in the water. So she jumps in the water, and then she's like, oh, crap, I can't get back out.
Of course, okay.
So then, like, Superman hears her heartbeat. You know,
for fuck's sake.
It's like she's like, oh, do, and she's like, oh, Lois Lane's fucked up. Yeah. So he's like, oh, rips it out, and she's like, oh, it's down there, and he's like, oh, so he goes and gets it. The thing that can kills him. Yeah. If he gets in the vicinity of it, it weakens him to the point where Batman can punch him and hurt him. Yeah.
So basically makes him human.
Yes. So at this point, the only person out fighting Doomsday and stopping him from destroying Gotham at that point started out in Metropolis and then just jumped and then was in Gotham. Yeah. So annoying. They're not that close together. No. They're not touching. So Wonder Woman's the only one out there fighting. Yeah. And she is a great... The fight scenes with Wonder Woman in it is great. Because it's not just punch, punch, punch. She's got a sword, she's got a shield. She, like, cuts Doomsday and it hurts him. Nice. And all that sort of stuff. And she's, like, he throws a punch and she blocks it and deflects it with a shield and stabs him with the sword. All of that. All the stuff with Wonder Woman in it, great. Yeah. Just give me a Wonder Woman movie if that's what it's going to be.
Well, they're doing it, apparently.
Yeah, there you go. Probably because she was the only good thing that come out of the movie.
Probably. How'd they know that before the movie got released?
But meanwhile, like, Batman is just sort of hanging around. Yeah. He's just, like, wandering around in the background with his last bullet of kryptonite stuff. Yeah. So I'm like, just send Batman to go get the spear. Yeah. Superman, go punch the bad guy.
Yeah. Do your thing.
You know. But no, he's like... And Lois Lane's like, no, Superman, don't. And he's like, oh, I have to save the people. And he's holding a spear and he's like,
I wish the audience could see how many times I've rolled my eyes in this story.
And so, like, Wonder Woman gets a lasso, loops it around the bad guy's neck. Yeah. And sort of like, this is after she's chopped his hand off at one point. So, like, he's sort of, like, regrowing. I'm not going to get into Doomsday. It's a whole other thing. There's a great video that explains who Doomsday is, how he was created, and the whole comic book story about the death of Superman, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, cool.
It's about 15, 20 minutes long. Explains everything.
Okay.
Lops his hand off, and for some reason he, like, just starts growing shards of bones out of his hand. He starts regrowing.
Yeah.
So he ends up with, like, the big bone spear.
Yeah.
Out of his wrist. And so Wonder Woman lassos him and is, like, holding him down.
Yeah.
And he's, like, trying to break free, but he can't because she's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And then, like, Superman is, like, hopping along trying to, like, build up enough speed to stab the guy with the spear to kill him.
Yeah.
And finally Batman just shoots him in the face with a grenade. He's like, oh, I have Kryptonian DNA. Oh, this is hurting me.
Yeah.
And then, like, Superman flies in and stabs him in the heart with the spear.
Okay.
At which point Doomsday grabs hold of him and stabs him with his bone thing.
Yeah.
At which point, the whole time I'm watching, I was like, just give the spear to Wonder Woman.
Or anyone else there.
Yeah. She's strong enough, and she knows weapons.
Yeah.
She can just, like, get in and stab him.
Yeah.
And she won't die because of, like, the close proximity.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So, and then, like, lasso him, give the lasso to Superman.
Yeah.
He can hold him
share
down.
weapons.
Just be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Justice League.
Cooperate.
But then, like, then they both die, and he's like, I can, like, get away. He's already stabbed in the heart at this point. But he's like, I will pull myself more onto the bone spear so I can stab him through and save the world.
Right.
And then he's dead.
Oh, so Superman dies?
Except, of course, he doesn't. Like, the very, like, thing,
did he get, like, the Dragon Balls
He got, like, he got, like, the state funeral in Metropolis, but his actual body is in, his hometown, which I can't remember the name of, Smallville. And they bury him, and then I was like, Lois is standing there and throws a handful of dirt on his grave.
Yeah. And
then, like, the very last scene of the movie is, like, the dirt on top of his grave, little bits of it rise up. And I was like, he's not dead. Okay. I'm sure there was more than a couple of minutes, but it was just so annoying. Of course you're not gonna fucking kill Superman. You know.
So stupid.
It was ridiculous. Anyway. I've talked for about 20 minutes on the topic of
You also
that.
Never answered my question of what other superheroes show up.
The Flash shows up, and
like
Aquaman shows up.
TV show Flash?
TV show man. Not him, though. A different guy.
Okay.
Aquaman shows up. Who's,
like that massive...
Jason Momoa.
Oh, cool. Do they have, like, important parts in the movie?
No. It's just, like
end
Lex has tracked down these other superhumans. And then he's, like, Bruce Wayne, Batman, copied his servers and was like, metahumans, and went into there and it was like files on each of them.
Oh, so they're not physically in the movie.
Yeah, the only reason why Wonder Woman is even around is because she knows that Lex Luthor has proof that she's been around for hundreds of years and she wants to get it back.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Oh.
And Cyborg. Cyborg is there as well.
Okay, I don't know who Cyborg is.
He's like a black guy who's a cyborg.
Wow, okay. They're really creative at DC.
Anyway. Those are the other superheroes.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is the only guy who was like, that guy looks fucking badass. He's like all tatted up and he's got a trident and he's
I was gonna say, you can see him and...
Yeah.
So they actually play a part in the movie, or they're just like shots of them
it's just
on
videos and photos and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
So, the spoilers over.
Yep.
Save your money.
Back.
It was a terrible movie.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But I also have a bone to pick with you, by the way.
Yeah.
Because last week you mentioned a thing called Dragon Ball Multiverse.
Yes.
Which is still running, by the way.
Yes.
As I found out when I looked it up for the blog post and proceeded to then read the entire thing.
Hey! What do you think?
A lot of it was nonsense.
A lot of it is nonsense.
It's like every now and then it'd just go to a backstory.
Yeah.
I just skip over that.
Oh, okay.
For those who aren't aware and who can't remember last week, why don't you explain what it is?
Okay, so Dragon Ball Multiverse basically is fan-made comic, fan-made manga that, obviously for those who didn't listen last week, basically...
By non-English speakers. Because some of the English is very poor. The grammar's
They
not
could
very
be
good.
English speaking and just not be able to spell or use proper grammar.
I think they're foreign.
Maybe. But it's all fan-based comics, but people submit different comics, so the art style of the comic changes each week. So it's like a different person drawing the comic each week.
I don't believe so.
Well, if you look at the chapters...
Like the
maybe it's different chapters, not each week. But
No. The backstories.
Yeah, they're different chapters.
They're different. But the main plotline is all the one actor.
The one
guy, yes.
artist,
yes.
But yeah, it basically just goes into hypothetical universes where things haven't happened the same way they
Things
have.
have... Something in the past has changed.
Yes. So they've got different timelines, and all these people from different timelines are there. So, but it's I thought it was interesting. But
it is very interesting. There is a lot of nonsense.
There's a ton of nonsense. Like, Krillin being the strongest.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, the strongest in his universe, yes. Yeah. Which doesn't make sense. And for some reason, Tien and Yamcha are cyborgs.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Anyway, so Dragon Ball Multiverse, that's all that's about.
Yeah.
And I had to look it up to put it in the blog post.
Oh,
so I was like, oh, this is actually... art style's quite well done.
Yeah.
It actually, it looks quite a lot like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, they've done a really good job with it. They've done a really good job with it.
They have done a really good job with it. I think they changed artists about halfway through it.
Yes, they did, yeah.
Anyway, that's not important because the art style is basically identical because they're just copying Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, exactly, but it's 1,200 pages.
Yes, I think it's up to about 1,400 at this point.
It's gone up.
And I'd probably say about 700 or so of that is the storyline and not flashbacks.
Yeah, because they have to explain each universe and what happened in each universe to get like the way it is. And
I was just like, oh, I'll just read a couple of pages. And I read the whole thing.
How many hours?
A couple hours.
Yeah.
But I was not interested in the backstory of like the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Of like, and first they call characters weird things sometimes.
Yeah.
Like that. They call Bardock, who is the father of Goku. They call him Braddock.
Braddock, yeah.
For some reason.
It could be a language thing.
Yeah, I think it's just a language thing.
Yeah.
It's mistranslation.
Yeah.
And I don't think Braddock is what is called in Japanese.
No, it's like Burodoko or something.
So it's definitely not. That's what
it's
made
not
it
even
was
close,
like. It's not English. Yeah. It's not Japanese.
No.
So it's actually quite an interesting read.
Yeah.
There's some things that don't make sense. Eventually I got to the point where I was just like, read. Oh, it's a backstory. Skip to the next chapter.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
you know, so I skipped over all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so fuck you. That took up about 2 hours, 3 hours of my time.
You're welcome.
So I read all that and I'm up to date now.
Hey, that's fun. I'm so happy.
Anyway, I've been talking a lot. What do we got to talk about?
Well, I'm gonna flip the coin and look at Marvel because the new season rather of Marvel's Agents vs Shield has been released.
Is that what it's called? Marvel's Agents vs Shield.
What did I
Is that what you said?
Marvel's Agents of
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Because I was thinking Batman vs Superman. It's still in my head.
Agents vs S.H.I.E.L.D.
Shields. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I was watching.
So this is something I've never watched,
which disappoints me because it's really good.
It should more surprise you than disappoints you, because
go.
I am by far and above a bigger fan of Marvel than DC.
Oh yeah, I think most people are.
1,000%.
Yeah.
You know, but it just never appealed to me because for some reason Phil Coulson is alive.
Yeah.
And that just, I was just like, well, that just detracts from everything that the Avengers movie.
Yeah, they tried to explain it, but it's just not very good. Like, because this was like 2-3 years ago that they explained why he's back.
Yeah, spoilers don't matter. The statute of limitations on this is passed.
Okay, well, I'm not going to talk about the most recent episode because it came out yesterday.
Why is he alive?
They basically just saved him, but they sent him to they brainwashed him into thinking he was somewhere else, and then a whole bunch of the series is him trying to work
way
out.
too complicated.
It's so complicated, but they give him alien DNA or some shit, and
okay. Well, that wouldn't be the first time that's happened.
No, exactly. And then
do you remember the name of it? Was it the Shi'ar? Was it Skrull? Was it
Wasn't Skrull. Maybe it was Skrull. I don't know. But they refer to Terrigen. That's the big thing at the moment.
Terrigen.
Yeah, Terrigen.
Terrigen mists.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, the Inhumans.
The Inhumans. That's exactly what I was going with. So they're going with the Inhuman thing, and Inhumans and mutants the same thing.
No.
Okay, because I was under the impression that it was a copyright thing. They couldn't use mutants as a term.
No.
I read
the
that
Inhumans are sort of like this sub-branch of humanity where they are mutated humans, normal humans.
Yeah.
Basically.
Mutated humans, not mutants, but Inhumans.
Yes.
Okay.
They're humans that are mutated by these mists.
Yes,
called Terrigen mists.
Yeah.
And it just gives them sort of random powers and abilities and appearances and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So and they live apart from humans because they've been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
But they live apart from humans because humans hate them because they're different. Yeah. Basically.
Standard humans. Yeah.
Proceed.
Oh, okay, good. That was it.
I've just taken over telling you about this.
Yeah, that's what basically the second or third series is. But the first season was great because it had the main cast and all this stuff happened, and there's like the awkward science couple. That one like the chick is like super hot, or she's really cute. And there's the other like awkward science guy, whatever. They have like a little love thing going on, and then they've got like the silent sort of macho-y.
So you've
main
watched
character.
all of this for about 3 or 4 seasons now.
Yeah.
Can you name any of the superheroes in it?
Quake.
Okay.
Quake. So she's like the main thing that like called no, real name's like Daisy, I think.
Hmm?
Daisy is her real name in the comics.
I don't know.
Oh,
Is she a mutant? Is she?
She's an Inhuman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know all of these.
Well, she's like the main character of the show.
Okay.
Oh, well, she was when it started, and then she gets exposed to the Terrigen Mist and goes through Terrigenesis.
Was she
becomes...
a superhuman before she got exposed
No.
to Terrigen Mist?
No.
Okay, because that can lead to bad times.
But her mother was an Inhuman,
Okay.
and her dad was like crazy or some shit. I don't know, I'll get into that. But so she's basically confirmed for Quake because she has like the like vibrating
She
powers.
can vibrate the earth. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of the series, like the last season, was about that. But the main like silent hero from the first season, Grant, he's like the CIA or Agents of Shield.
So on and so forth.
Yeah, standard military guy, whatever you want to call him.
Just like, oh, yeah, secret agency.
Yeah, he's like a secret agent, and he's just like really. Well, he's not superhero strong, but he's like well equipped and blah blah blah.
Okay.
But he's like with the main character, and they like form a friendship, and all this shit happens. And then at the very like the season finale, he flips and turns out he works for Hydra, and it's like this.
Oh no, Hail Hydra.
Yeah, Hail Hydra. And me and Cara, my fiance,
Is this recent?
This was like 2 years ago.
Okay, I was gonna say. This
But
is like the
he
new
flipped
season.
and then became the villain for the rest of it. And he's been the villain until he died in the last
See now,
season.
a good flip like that can revitalize the show.
Yeah, because it was really boring. It was so boring. And like I think it was that beginning of that episode that had Stan Lee in it. I was like, fucking Stan Lee sellouts. And then
you and your if anybody who is even remotely associated with a product is
fuck 'em.
shown up is
fuck
off.
him. Fuck him. I hate him.
Not interested.
Hate him. So he shows up. I'm like, here we go. They're getting desperate for ratings. They're throwing Stan Lee in. But at the end of every season, I'm pretty sure they've had like a cameo of someone. Like the second season, they had Nick Fury in it. And the third
Samuel
season,
L. Jackson. They had Sam Jackson.
Yeah, he was in the. Yeah, he was in it.
That's
With
cost
Coulson
them
in it.
about $4 million.
Yeah, it cost them the entire budget for the next season. And now they're fighting because Grant died in the last season, and now he's like been
Anytime I
possessed.
see Grant, all I can think of is Grant Imahara.
Hara from Mythbusters, yeah.
Mythbusters.
That's funny. But yeah, so they went through this fucking portal, the monolith, which apparently isn't in the comics.
Okay.
But anyway,
If it's not in the comics, why would I know about it?
No,
You looked at me like, explain this.
No,
Alan."
because I don't know if I'm right or not.
Okay, well,
So-
you just said a monolith, so you're gonna
There's
have
like
to give
this
me more
portal that
information.
goes into another world, and there's like this fucking guy there that's like there's like an Inhuman there, like he calls himself the original Inhuman or some shit, and they refer to him as it in the series, but there's no information on any Wikipedia page about it.
See, I'm surprised you love comics. All this stuff fascinates you. You like the movies.
Yep.
You like all that stuff.
Mhm.
Why don't you read comic books?
'Cause I can't read.
But you just said you read manga. Manga is the exact same
Yeah,
as comic
but
books.
if I start reading comics, I'll never be able to stop reading comics. And I have so many things to do, I don't have time.
Yeah, whatever.
I have addictive personality, we've been through this.
But I would have another person to talk to comic books about.
You've got lots of people.
I have like 2.
Yeah, I'll think about it. You recommend me a good comic.
Alright. You gotta tell me what you find interesting, and I'll recommend you a comic.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Okay.
So anyway, watching Marvel vs. DC, and I'll talk about the latest episode, not in, like,
You know, you just
huge
said Marvel
details.
versus DC, right?
Yeah, I did.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fucking, what the hell's wrong with me? So yeah, the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. latest episode.
Just say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents
So
of
much
S.H.I.E.L.D.
easier.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
I
what
will,
we're
because
talking
we talk so much about DC, it annoyed me, so I feel like I
Alright.
need to get Marvel in there. But yeah, the latest episode, they, like, got rid of 2 of the main cast by...
Like legitimately? Oh, shit's dead.
No, they're not dead. They're like, they can't be agents anymore, so they kind of, like, wrote them out of the show, but I don't know why. It was just all of a sudden, they're just like, oh, you're not in the show anymore. And they
Was
just...
it possibly like a scandal?
No, it was like, I think it's like added to the show. I think maybe they got cast to another TV show or something, because that happens all the time.
happens.
That
They get
happened
written
in the
out.
100. Like, one of the main characters is now in a movie, so they killed her off, and she was like one of the most important characters, and it pissed off so many people. Like the creator of the 100, or the director, or whatever, he lost 50,000 Twitter followers the day the episode came out because of him killing off that character.
Well,
Which
it's not
was
his
like,
fault.
Yeah, well, no, of course not. But it was like half of his followers. But because
If that guy's, if a director of the 100 has only got 100,000 Twitter followers, that guy's got more problems.
Yeah,
than-
exactly. Well, he lost half. I don't know the exact figure, but he lost a whole bunch of them. So that was quite funny. But But yeah, they just killed off these characters for no apparent reason. And I really like both of them.
I'm sure there's some sort of real life reason as to why they had to go.
I guess, or they're going to bring them back later in the season, or some shit's going down.
Maybe they're like, oh, we were actual secret double agents.
Maybe, I don't know.
We had to go deep undercover.
I'm so disappointed because now I don't know what's going on, because like I'm already annoyed with the season because like Phil lost his hand in the last season, like he cut his arm off. I can't remember what happened, but his arm got cut off. So I gave him like a robot claw that's like super strong, and so he can grab stuff, and he's just got like he's like One Punch Man basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those wondering, while I was setting up for the podcast, I made Tim watch the first episode of One Punch Man.
It was a good show.
And I told you to watch it, and you're like, nah, I'll watch it. And I told you to read the manga like fucking 7 months ago, and you're like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no, not at all. And then you forced me to watch it.
I forced you to watch the first episode, and now you're like, oh my god, I want to watch the rest of it.
Yeah, well, you tricked me. You were like, I gotta set up for the podcast. It'll take me about the same amount of time as a One Punch Man episode, and it took about 30 seconds to clean up, and then you stood there and watched it with me. Like the piece of shit that you are. Yeah, I guess so.
Now, what I'm going to do is make you do the same for Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Yeah.
And make you watch the first episode of that.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then you'll be hooked. Your addictive personality will take over.
We don't want that happening. Ruined my life. Yeah, so where was I?
So what, you're disappointed with the direction that the show is
taking? Yeah, I was going to say, they cut off Phil's hand, and they gave him like a robot claw.
I really don't know how spoilery you're being right now.
Oh, this is a while ago. Okay. But this is talking about the laziness of the show. So, like, he was always wearing a black glove. He would never use it because he was just like, oh, it's my fake hand. So, like, obviously, the guy that plays Phil Coulson had to kind of adjust his acting style to reflect... Yeah, to compensate for the fact that he didn't have a hand. And then, at the beginning of this season, one of the science guys like, oh, look, I've created a magical cloak for your hand and your robot device, so it looks just like your old hand. So now he just has a hand again. And I'm just like, why cut off his hand if you're just going to give him his hand back? Yeah. It's fucking stupid.
Make him wear an annoying prosthetic.
Yeah, make him wear a glove that, like, they put, like, splints in so he can't move his fingers or something. Like, make
How
it
shitty
interesting.
is his robot hand that he can't bend his fingers?
It's a good hand, but, like, he always had a glove on or, like, he didn't wear it.
He held it weirdly because it was supposed to be a robot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was always open or something. Like, you could tell it wasn't real. Or he wouldn't wear it, so he would take off the part of his arm and he would just have nothing there. And they're like, oh, we hired Samuel L. Jackson for the last one. We don't have a budget for a fake hand.
We can't green screen that hand away anymore.
Fuck no more green screen. So they tore down all their green screens and gave him a fake hand, so he has a real hand again. It's the biggest cop-out.
It's lazy. It's lazy.
Yeah, not like Batman vs. Superman, let's not follow the comic books or any of the mythology behind any of the characters.
Yeah.
Not that kind of lazy.
Not that kind of lazy.
Like, I'm not going to read the backstory of what I'm making. But lazy.
See, this is why I tried to watch Supergirl when it first came out.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, how recent?
Oh, like, still being released.
Oh, Christ. Alright.
And it had the same problem that I have with pretty much any superhero thing, live action, that I watch.
Yep.
Is that I'm so used to watching the big budget movies and stuff like that. And I sort of had the same problem with Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Is that the special effects look kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
Like, the superpowers, I'm like, it looks ridiculous. Because I just watched fucking Iron Man fucking invert a planet, and on the movies, or a chunk of the Earth, and destroy this whole city.
Yeah.
And now you're showing me, like, poorly CGI'd person denting a wall with a punch. You know? It just doesn't sort of...
Yeah, I get that.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's not great. Well, that was the same with...
high school project.
Yeah, well, even Daredevil with such a quote-unquote low budget, like, that still was visually impressive. Maybe because it's the big screen.
Because he's not, like, jumping miles through the air. He's just a dude who can fight really good.
Yeah, I guess. Fuck, that was such a good movie.
What are you talking about, Daredevil?
Not Daredevil. Oh my god, Jesus, no, Deadpool. Not Daredevil.
Daredevil.
I was thinking about it because you mentioned Jessica Jones. I thought about Netflix, and I got to Daredevil.
Yeah, I was like, but Daredevil the series
is amazing. Is apparently really good. Daredevil the movie,
not so much.
Is not great.
Not so much.
Not great at all.
Deadpool was great, even if that was nowhere near the budget of, like, Captain America. Fucking Civil War.
Well, you know the story with the budget on that, don't you?
They got slashed, like, a lot of money.
That's why the guns in the back of like how he leaves his guns in the taxi, they had to write that in because they couldn't afford the gunfight at the end of the thing.
I don't think that's true.
The director said that. Like, they're like, oh, we had to cut...
But did he say that because, we're Deadpool and we're funny?
I don't know.
Because how much more could it possibly cost? Everybody's still shooting guns. He just doesn't have any.
Yeah, exactly. But there was he had rocket launchers, all this other stuff, and he's like, well, shooting guns and making fake bullets and all that other stuff, it all adds up to money, so we cut it out of the thing. That's why
it really worked out well.
Yeah, it's great, and it was funny.
But then yet they still had a character that was entirely CGI the entire movie.
Yeah. So go figure.
All right. I think that's enough of that.
Yeah.
We're running a bit long, so we need to jump straight into Force Review.
Yeah.
Force Review is traditionally when one of us forces the other person to review something that they have not seen or read or seen, said seen twice. What's the third one? Tasted, listened, smelled, touched,
yep.
felt.
We got
before. Anyway, and last week you gave me the heftiest review yet, I would say.
Lengthiest, yeah.
Lengthiest, yes. Of watching Madoka Magica.
Yeah.
Which, for some reason, you were very excited to get me to watch.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So, Madoka Magica is a girl anime, basically. Not girl anime, it's anime with girls in it. Basically,
it's a magical girl.
It's a magical girl anime. These girls get magical powers in exchange for contracts that they sign.
Never a signature is made.
No, it's like a verbal contract. And basically they get...
That'll never hold up in a court of law.
Nah, of course not. But yeah, they make a contract with this weird creature,
with
fairy cat thing, Cube, to become magical girls in exchange for something that
a wish,
yeah, that he grants them, and then they get powers.
He's having a lot of trouble describing this with someone who's a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I know, it's not good. But they have to go out and fight witches, which is part of the contract of fighting. And their familiars, yeah, sure. And it's just like a standard fighter girl anime, and then shit gets real around episode 3 when one of the magical girls gets fucking just decapitated.
I believe it's episode 4.
4, maybe. When Mommy gets her head bitten off.
Mm-hmm.
By the Charlotte, I think it's called, witch. And then shit gets real, and then sad things happen, and then time travel becomes apparent.
Okay, well we'll get to that.
And then we'll get to it, but it's insane. It's really, really good.
Okay.
From my standpoint. Let's hear what you had to say about it.
Now, your girlfriend is possibly an even bigger your partner, is an even bigger fan of this than you are.
Oh god,
yeah. Enormously so.
Enormously so.
Yes. She was ecstatic to find out that you were making me watch this.
Yes, I had to fight her to get her to stay home so she didn't come here.
Well, it's a good thing she isn't here, Tim, because this show was ridiculous.
Oh, you didn't like it. Oh, I'm so sad.
I didn't hate it.
You didn't hate it. Okay.
I feel like it was just logically inconsistent.
Okay.
Let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
It's all about... There is a rule in literature.
Okay.
Right? I'm not sure if you're aware of this.
Probably not.
Where it's more to do with writing a story.
Yeah.
And the question you need to ask yourself when you're writing a story or a novel or anything, basically, drawing a comic book, whatever, is this the most interesting period in this character's life?
Yeah.
And if it's not, why aren't you telling us that?
Okay.
You should always have a goal to tell the story of the most interesting part. Because why would you want the less interesting part instead of the most interesting part?
That makes sense.
And this show fails at that.
Oh, okay. Go
on. Because... And we're going to go through spoilers here. This show's been out for
a long
years
time.
now. Now, the whole premise of the show is that Madoka, and I'm not going to know names. Because
okay, I'll help you.
Yeah. The show is 12 episodes long.
Yes.
And so I developed no attachment to any of these characters.
Wow.
Because it's so short, so brief.
Yeah.
And they're very shallow characters.
Yes, they are.
There's not much.
All but one.
There's not much to them. And the one that's not shallow, you don't find out is not shallow until episode 12.
Yeah. Well,
episode 11 or episode 12.
What, you talking about the time traveler?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that's got a character.
Yeah. She's the only one who's got a character.
Yeah.
And she's actually the main character.
Yeah, basically.
So the show is not even named after the main character.
No.
Anyway. And the whole premise of the show is that Madoka is this magical girl.
Yeah.
And for some reason, she has the most magical potential of anybody, this little thing, this little white rabbit, fox, cat creature.
Cube,
whatever.
Fox.
he's ever seen.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, she could basically become a god.
Yes.
And solve every problem ever.
Yeah.
Because she's so powerful
Yeah.
and strong. But then Madoka does fucking nothing for 11 episodes.
Yeah, she is absolute horseshit.
She's fucking
terrible.
useless.
Yeah, she's awful. She's absolutely terrible. She's the Sailor Moon of the series.
Except Sailor Moon defeats most of the bad guys.
Yeah, but she gets a lot of an assist, and she doesn't really do much to do it.
Anyway, we're not going to draw parallels to
No,
because we're going to be here all day.
Yeah.
And she's not even the main character. The main character is
Homura,
who is like the angsty, moody,
Yeah.
I'm not friends with anybody, fuck all you guys.
Yeah, the Sinadre or whatever.
Yeah, and there's so many tropes filled in.
Yep.
There's the blonde one,
Yeah.
who is like the mother,
Yep.
because she's older and she like shows them the ropes and
Yep.
all that sort of stuff. Then you've got the hothead,
Yep, the redheaded one.
the redheaded one,
Yep.
who's sort of like,
She's
I'm
a
gonna
bitch.
She's a bitch. I fucking hate everybody,
Yep.
but secretly she really likes them.
Yeah.
Then you've got like the idiot, who is the blue-haired one.
Oh, Sayaka, yeah,
Yeah.
she dumb.
She's dumb. She's like, nah, I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, she knows.
And then she's the one who like ends up succumbing to darkness.
Yeah,
and all
becomes
that
a
sort of
witch.
stuff.
Yeah.
So all the tropes are filled.
Yeah.
And then there's Madoka, who's like, oh, I'm young and stupid and I don't know what's going on. I can't make up my mind.
Yeah.
And the whole premise is the reason why she's got so much magical power is that the dark-haired one,
Homura.
Homura, is actually her best friend
Yes.
from an alternate timeline.
Yes.
And for some reason that's never sufficiently explained throughout the entire movie,
Okay.
series.
Series.
Is that right at the end there is a big bad witch coming along.
Yeah.
And it's going to fuck everything up.
Yeah.
And all the witches usually exist in like these little pocket dimensions, so they can't really interact with the city.
Yeah.
Of which they never explain what the city is, what timeline. In the future, are they in the future? I'm assuming they're in the future because it's never explained.
Yeah. They never really have a like averse reaction to QB either. They're just like,
yeah,
oh yeah,
it's like, oh, there's a weird talking thing.
This is Japan, sure.
Anyway, and in the first timeline, quotation marks.
Yep.
Madoka and the Homura, everybody dies.
Yeah.
Everybody dies except for this one girl who didn't have magical powers and just sort of tagged along.
Yeah.
And at the very end, she's like, oh, well, everybody's fucked.
Yeah.
All these people, and the whole thing encapsulates about a month.
Yeah.
Period. And she's like, oh my god, everybody's dead. These people I've known for a month.
Yeah.
I only care about Madoka.
Yep.
For some reason.
Lesbians.
So I wish that I could redo when I first meet her. So she gets time traveling powers.
Yeah.
So she then...
Well, I think she wishes that she could protect her.
I think like maybe it was just a translation I had.
Maybe.
Was like, I wish I could go back and redo when I first met her.
Yeah, because basically she has to be able to protect her for her to continue. So every time that she dies, she has to go back.
She doesn't have to, she chooses to.
Maybe she does, I don't remember.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I just fucking watched it, so listen.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough. I haven't watched it in a while.
And for some reason, she's known all of these girls for the exact same amount of time.
Yeah.
And she's formed a close bond with all of them.
Yeah.
She only cares about Madoka.
Yeah.
Which is for a reason never sufficiently explained.
Not really, no.
And so she's like, oh shit, everybody's dead from this witch.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have to live in this little encapsulated universe and is just wrecking the city.
Yeah.
And fucking people up.
Yeah.
So I wish to be a magical girl to go back and redo things so everybody doesn't die.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about anybody else.
No.
Just Madoka.
Which is shown because everybody dies.
Everybody else dies.
In the main timeline, yeah.
And so then she goes back, and this is like encapsulated into like one episode.
Yeah.
She goes back and forth like 4 times.
Which is the best episode of the series.
Which is the best episode of the series.
Yeah.
So, and then she like goes back and she's like, okay, maybe if I do this, and then everybody dies.
Yeah.
Except Madoka, who, spoiler alert, as soon as your soul gem, whatever, that turns you into magical girl, gets corrupted by
so
you
impressed.
Use up all the magic, you turn evil.
Something like that. If you get sad, or
If you get sad,
it
becomes
becomes a grief seed.
You become a grief seed, and then you turn into a witch, and that's the vicious cycle.
Yeah.
That magical girls turn into witches, and then other magical girls have to be made to kill them.
Yeah.
So on and such forth.
Which
the
is a
little
vicious cycle.
cat cubey thing.
Yeah.
Is actually an alien.
Incubator.
Yeah, but he's actually from
Yeah.
space. Who is fighting entropy by collecting emotional energy. Is the way it was explained in the show.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm paraphrasing there.
Yeah.
And his explanation of entropy is not what entropy is. It's poorly, is garbage science. And for some reason he's like, oh, emotions when they turn evil, generate a lot of energy, and that's what we're using to fight entropy.
Yeah.
Was the gist I got from watching it. I fell asleep like 4 times watching this series.
Okay.
But
I'm so impressed.
I always went back and watched the rest of it.
I'm so impressed that you've actually, like, you're getting all of the terminology except for things like you got Soul Gem, the Grievously, all these other things.
Yes.
I barely watched any of the things you forced me to review. I feel like an asshole.
Well, I committed to it.
Yeah, you did.
I really struggled through it. Anyway,
You poor thing.
bad science aside,
Yep.
I picked him out as a fucking bad guy from day dot.
Oh, yeah.
He's like constantly pressuring girls into becoming
Yeah,
magical.
it's not
He's
hard.
like, well, this is a terrible situation that you could resolve by becoming a magical
Yeah,
girl.
and he's ominous throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
And
he is.
he's like,
Anyway.
he's obviously evil.
And so she goes back and tries to fix it so that everybody doesn't die except for her.
Yeah.
Everybody else dies except for Madoka, who's used up all her magical energy and turns into a witch.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, that's not good enough. And then
Yeah.
she goes back, and then so it's a vicious cycle
and
goes
she
back.
gets nastier and
And she
nastier
gets
with it.
gets like more emotionally detached because
Yeah.
she's like, oh, I can't save anybody.
Yeah.
Why doesn't she care about the rest of them?
I don't know.
She's like, oh, well, I don't care about them. I'll protect Madoka. And then they die, and then there's just like her and Madoka at the
I
end.
think that
Surely she would have more luck,
saving
everybody not dying, if there were more people to fight the bad witch at the end.
Probably, yeah. But it's like
Your girlfriend is fuming right now.
I know.
listening to it.
I know she's gonna be so angry, and you're not gonna be there when she yells at me
I know.
for misinforming you of things.
Look,
but
I'm
I think,
sure I'm not picking up all the nuance. This is just what I got as a viewer.
which is fine. Which is the point of a forced review, is that you don't read into the lore or the backstory
Yes.
of the fan.
I'm sure there's
interpretations.
there's a lot of. I'm sure there's a
so much
forum out there
interpretation.
going, subreddit or whatever going.
Yeah, well, there's a whole bunch of shit, but we're not going into
Yeah.
that. But
And-
I think the whole thing with Madoka and Homura is, I think Madoka was like nice to her when she first, like in the original timeline
Yes,
that Homura
she
came from.
was.
So she was like
She
her
like
first
took
friend.
it. She was like, "Oh, hey, I'll take you to the nurse because you need to take your medicine."
Yeah, exactly.
She was, like,
So
immediately fell in love.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a love thing.
Possibly.
It's very subtly implied.
Yes. Anyway, why don't they start with that? Is what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
do like the first 2 episodes being the whole everybody's and then she goes back and then da da da. I just want to watch that bit.
Yeah,
That
I
was
think,
so like I dragged through most of this, but then I got to that episode where she was like skipping back through time, and I was like, "This is so interesting."
right. It's so good, and
This
the
is the
worst,
good bit.
the worst part is when that, and this is like 2011, I think this came out, so which is really old now, it seems. But the Homura episode, I'm pretty sure, aired the day before that like massive earthquake in Japan that like killed a bunch of people in the
How
tsunami.
unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. And so the next week was supposed to be the next episode, but because of the earthquake, it got delayed for like 2 months. So the fans that got attached saw that episode and were like, "Oh my god, all this stuff is happening. This is what Homura is. This is what's going to happen." The next 2 episodes are about to come out. Nah. So they got 2 months of nothing and waiting, and they were like Kara, because you were watching it basically live as it happened, episode by episode, week by week, and
I'm sure you
so
heard about
upset.
it a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and she was so upset because she had to wait so long for the next episode. So I think it just magnified everyone's emotions. about
So
it.
eventually she gets like emotionally detached and
Yep.
drained and all this sort of stuff.
Yep.
And just goes, well, if I can't save her as a magical girl, I will just insist that she not become one in the
Yep.
first place.
Yeah, which is a reasonable.
Which is reasonable. Doesn't make sense because she can only sort of seem to travel back to when she first started the storyline,
Yeah.
which was after she became a magical girl.
Yeah.
So ignoring that plot loophole.
Yep.
She then proceeds to only care about stopping her becoming a magical girl at the expense of everybody and everything.
Yeah.
To the point where she knows that if she gets to fight the big bad witch
Yeah.
and doesn't kill the big bad witch by herself or whatever,
Yeah.
Madoka will go, oh, well, I have to help her. And then she'll become a magical girl,
yeah.
and then the whole shit.
The cycle starts.
Cycle starts over again. It shat me off so much when in the main timeline that we watch through, we get to the end bit, and she does so much cool shit to take out the witch.
Oh, the rockets and stuff.
She like has rockets and missile launchers, and she drives a fucking gas tank into this thing and blows it up into a stadium that she's lined with explosives, and then sets them off, and it does fucking nothing.
It does nothing to it. Yeah. Yeah.
It shat me off so much.
Yeah.
It's like all the other stuff to kill witches is just like, oh, I've stabbed it, now it's dead.
It's dead. Yeah.
And this big bad witch, I just shot it with 1,000 tons of TNT and nothing.
Nah. Because it was like the most powerful witch in existence.
Yeah,
So.
but it's shown
strong.
in the past that her like human weapons can damage and kill witches.
Yeah.
Because she
Just
does
not that one.
all the time.
Just not that one.
Just not that one
Yeah.
for some reason.
Well,
and then it's like, at this point, all the timelines revolve around Madoka.
Yeah.
So she's got all this potential energy wrapped around her, which is why she's got so much potential power. So as she like keeps looping back through time, it was like, she took it out in one shot. That time she killed the witch and she's alive.
Yeah.
But now she's gonna eventually turn into the most powerful thing and destroy the planet.
Yeah.
And so eventually, at the very end of it, she turns into a magical girl with the wish of eliminating all witches before they're born.
Yes.
Which is fine.
Yep.
Which means that she then proceeded to sacrifice her entire life and existence from time in order to become sort of like time and space. To become sort of like the spiritual entity that when a magical girl's soul egg thing...
Soul gem,
sorry. Is about to turn into a witch. She destroys it.
Yeah. And she takes them.
And they die.
Yeah.
And she does... Well, she's never shown her taking them.
They like pull her out.
They pull them out. And anyway.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But... And then all of a sudden, like, another enemy just appears for them to
that
fight.
bothered me so much. Because it was just like, this is like such a great wish. She's like, this is...
She's sacrificing everything.
She solved the whole problem for everything. And then it's like, no, now there's something else.
But only because... The only reason why there's something else is because if there wasn't something else, then there's no point to creating magical girls because they had nothing to fight. And then you'd have... The whole thing would fall apart.
Yeah, so they had to find something else. So it's a little bit illogical, but so...
All of a sudden, like, the sadness of mankind turns into bad things that they have to fight.
Yeah, exactly. So, I get what you're saying, and I do like the series. I love the series a lot, but I do see a lot of inconsistency throughout the whole thing. And I've had this conversation with Cara, which turned into like hour-long debates about who was right and who was wrong. And I'm not kidding when I say that. But there's lots of issues with it. But I still found it quite enjoyable. Particularly the Homura episode is the only good episode I find.
But and the parents in this,
they give no fucks.
They're the worst parents I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I was like, oh sure, you're an 11-year-old who was out until 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I won't set a curfew though, but be good.
No.
And like girls go missing, and there's no fanfare to it.
No.
Like they die, and then it's just like eventually someone will find them.
Well, like when Sayaka dies, and no one really cares. Like there's no ramifications.
Yeah.
She which is a very sad scene because they both die, Kyoko and Sayako.
Yes.
Because she like kills herself to kill her.
Like horrible things happen, and then Madoka's there, and the cat thing is there, and nobody else is around, and she knows that if he's like told her dozens of times, if you become a magical girl, you can just fucking destroy these things, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be an issue for you.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I don't know what wish to make.
Yeah.
It just seemed very plot contrived that the reason why she didn't become a magical girl was so she could save her wish to wrap everything up at the end.
Yeah.
Deus Ex Machina, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Which just annoyed me because they would, like, her and the blue-haired chick before she became a magical girl.
Yeah.
They would just like sit there and their best friend, one of their new best friends, just dies in front of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, make a wish, we're gonna die, make a wish.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
No, and then she dies.
I don't know whether I want to heal that guy or not.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So many problems could be solved with every magical girl making the wish of, I wish to be indestructible.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You win. Every fight you
win. Yeah. That's metagaming though.
That is metagaming.
That's meta-animing.
It was not terribly animated.
Yeah, it's quite pretty.
I get that it is what it is.
Yeah.
Because it's for, I don't want to say little girls. It's for little girls, basically. And I'm sure I'm reading too much into it and all that sort of stuff. But, it's got problems.
So, do we move on to the rating part of it?
Yeah, we can.
I've got nothing there to say. It's just you've covered. I'm just more gobsmacked that you actually watched it with enough detail that you were able to review it so.
Well, I take it seriously.
Adequate. Yeah, you do. I feel like a piece of shit.
Okay. Now, what should I rate it? I'm going to give it 2 ratings.
Okay.
Because you're a fan of this. Yeah. And I want to give it a shot as well now that Russell's here and not to tell me no.
Okay.
Russell's not here to tell me no, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a rating as if I was a 13-year-old girl.
Okay.
And then
So,
I'm going to give it a
standard.
rating as a 30-year-old male who felt uncomfortable watching this entire show.
Okay.
13-year-old girl,
Yeah.
probably a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Because it ticks all the boxes. It's got little girls solving problems, having fun, and
Emotions.
no parental supervision,
Yep.
and just doing enormous magical things.
Yep.
I'm assuming that if I watched this and I was a 13-year-old girl, I'd have the same effect of when I watched Dragon Ball Z when I was a 15-year-old guy.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it's a lot of escapism.
Yeah.
As,
That's your review. You can't have two.
you cut me off.
Yeah, I'll cut you off.
No, as a
Russell, stay down.
as a 30-year-old male
Yep.
who could read into the plot of it and see all the inconsistencies.
And meta the shit out of it.
Meta the shit out of it. I'm going to give it about a 5.
A 5? That's still pretty good. That's watchable.
It was watchable, yes.
Yep.
But if they just instead had gone, hey, this is all about the time traveler one trying to fix the problems, and that's the entire series.
Yeah.
And all the different ways she attempts to manipulate the
Yeah.
situation and all that sort of stuff, I'd have given it a much higher rating than this.
Oh, there you go.
Because that whole shit was like, as soon as that happened, I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
This
You
is
have to
something
make
I
it
would
through.
like to watch.
Yeah. It just depends on what you're in it for. Like, if you're in it for, like, the emotions and the feels, the whole Sayaka thing where she wishes for that boy to get better and then she doesn't love him.
At that point, like, I never really felt emotion come from
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Well, I hate Sayaka because I think she's a dumb bitch for wasting her wish on a stupid boy.
Why didn't she just wish for the power to heal people?
Right? Right? Like, she could wish for anything. And then she gets, like, musical powers. It's, like, her witch, it's like a musical thing.
I'm
which
sure
is,
that's just thematic.
No, well, it's based off of the fact that he played violin.
Yes.
So that's where it comes from. But I was like, that's such a shit power. Like, healing would have been so much better.
Yes.
But, whatever. Okay.
I did like the thing, she was like, she was super tough as a magical girl. She could take more damage because she wished for someone to be healed.
Yeah.
So she had sort of healing powers as a magical girl
Yeah.
internally. That was slightly interesting.
Yeah.
But the rest of it was not that good.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Alright. So, now that we've done that,
Yep.
we need to decide whether I'm giving you something
Ooh.
or you're giving me something. Now, I want to give you One Punch Man
Okay.
to review.
Alright.
Because then you'll feel at least slightly motivated to watch it.
Yeah. I'll give it a
And
good
it's
shot.
Easter weekend, so I think you'll have the time.
Yeah, I wasted today, but I've got tomorrow off, so I could try and cram in there.
You start watching it, you're not going to stop.
Probably not.
And you're going to come back with a boner from watching the final 2 episodes.
Yeah, I probably won't ever lose it, to be honest. It'll just always be there.
It's wonderfully animated.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
episode 1 that we watched today was just stunning. It's just
And
blew
it
my mind.
only gets better.
Falling into the trap.
I've got you.
You got me. You got me hook, line, sinker. That's okay, because I'm going to do a little foreshadowing when Russell comes back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes.
2 weeks. I'll force myself onto that show and I'll get both of you a forced review. That's
Okay.
my...
Well, you when Russell comes back,
Yeah.
we can possibly squeeze you in for a threesome.
Yeah. Just like it's like a good business strategy where you're gonna hand over back to someone that started the whole thing.
You gotta
you gotta have a
hand
handover.
over.
Yeah, you got a sneaky hand job. So
Now we've run quite long
yeah, again.
because I blasted Batman vs Superman. Then I got
For
fucking
35 minutes.
Then I got meta on Madoka Magica,
Yeah.
an anime for 13-year-old girls.
Yep.
So I'm gonna do something a little different this week.
Oh,
I am sick of listing every single facet of our social media.
Thank God.
It takes forever.
glad you came to this conclusion. 'Cause I would have been a lot more brutal about telling you.
So I will do this.
Okay.
If you've enjoyed the show, you can go to our website, which
Yep.
is at popculturepon.weebly.com. And if you want to email us, it is popculturepon@gmail.com. Everything else, Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, blah, 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 just Google popculturepon. I Googled it the other day. Everything came up.
Hey, there you go.
So there you go. If you want us to access us on any other facet of social media, just Google popculturepon, one word, everything will come up. Done. So much faster. So
Hey,
much easier.
there you go.
Don't have to remember everything.
Wonderful.
And if you've enjoyed this, feel free to come on back next week for another episode of Popculture Pontification.
I can't believe you didn't like Madoka. Bullshit.
Like,
so-
on a scale of like 1 to 10, how pissed is your girlfriend going to be that I sort of blasted it?
What's the highest number recorded by man?
Infinity.
Infinity. Infinity plus 1.
Infinity plus 1.
Yeah.